What is up, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today, we are going to be doing just a super brief video where I talk about what I believe to be the best 3D printer for HueForge on the market. Now, there are lots of 3D printers out there. We have incredible new 3D printers like the U1 that just came out from Snapmaker that kind of puts this multi-tool head function into a relatively affordable 3D printing package. We have things like the H2C, which is like this $3,000 behemoth that still prints slower than the U1. And we have some incredible deals from things like the A1 combo to the now P2S. There's just so many 3D printers on the market. And maybe we started this year off and you've wanted to dive deep into 3D printing, specifically HueForge. Now, when we're printing HueForge, there are a couple of really important things that we need to take into consideration as we're kind of planning the purchase of a 3D printer. We have to take things into account like, do we want an enclosed printer or an open printer, a bed slinger printer, or a Core XY printer? Do we want a AMS system or are we okay with kind of swapping the filaments out manually? So I'm going to kind of break this up into three categories. We'll have the budget 3D printer. We will have the kind of like the all-around, the mid-range best deal 3D printer. And then we're going to have the all-out crazy 3D printer. So with all that being said, let's dive right in. Now, I want you guys to know off the bat that yes, I use a lot of Bamboo machines, but there are so many incredible 3D printers out there, and you should do your research. I have used K2 Maxes. I've used a lot of Creality machines. I've used some Anycubic machines. There are lots of really good deals out there. But the reason that I tend to recommend Bamboo Lab, especially for people that are wanting to run a business and wanting their 3D printer to work, you're not necessarily getting into 3D printing for the business, then Bamboo Lab is arguably the best manufacturer right now to go with. So I'm going to recommend a lot of Bamboo Lab 3D printers. If you're just like, Victor, I hate you, I hate Bamboo Lab, thanks for stopping by. There are other great 3D printers out there. You should check them out if you don't like Bamboo Lab. But today, we will be recommending some Bamboo Lab printers. All right, diving into the best budget 3D printer. Now, you have the A1 Mini and the A1 Main, the kind of the bigger one, the 250 by 250. These are both bed slinger 3D printers. Now, do you really want to just save money? Then you should look at probably the Bamboo Lab A1. I would not recommend the A1 Mini unless you wanted to make only really small HueForges. Now, you have two options. You have the A1, which retails for $299, which is such an incredible deal, or you have the A1 Combo, which retails for $399. Now, the really unique thing about HueForge is that you do not need an AMS in order to 3D print with HueForge. You could run like a really basic Ender V3 and just add pauses to your G-code as you're printing and manually swap out the filaments as you print. I'm going to do a whole video on this. I actually have some shorts on my page if you want to check them out, but you don't need an AMS. So if you are trying to save as much money as possible, then I would highly recommend picking up the A1. Not the A1 Combo is an incredible deal. And if you want the ease of being able to print with 4 filaments without having to swap them out all the time, then pick up the A1 Combo. But the A1 at $300 is such an incredible price, y'all. And you could probably find them used on Facebook Marketplace or on sale. Like Best Buy just ran a sale on the A1, and I believe it was like the combo for $300. So you basically got the free AMS Lite. It was an incredible deal. So I would recommend the A1. Now, the A1 will come with some challenges when you 3D print HueForges. It is a budget option, and it is a fantastic printer, but it will come with some kind of just things that you should be aware of. And the first one really is that this is a bed slinger printer. And, you know, if you've ever tried to print something really tall on a bed slinger printer, sometimes you'll lose some quality near the top. Now, you won't have to worry about losing quality because you're only printing really short. You're not printing really tall, but you will have to be aware of warping. And this is something that I see a lot on A1 printers that print, especially in rooms where there are open windows and AC that is blowing right onto it, or the temperature is not as controlled in the room. We'll start to see a lot of warping on our A1 3D printers because we need a really solid, clean, dry surface for our 3D prints to print on. Because HueForges typically are 200 by 200 millimeters. Which means that if you have an AC blowing right on it, you may see a corner lift up. If you have an open window with a draft kind of coming in, you may start to see some warpage there on the corners. So you need to be aware of that. There are some things that you can do in order to help prevent warpage, like having a clean build plate, adding a brim, maybe upping the bed temperature a little bit, or getting a stickier and better build plate, like the BQ kind of cryo grip plates are really good. So there are some things that you can do. But the A1, since it's not enclosed, you are susceptible to just kind of that warpage there on the corners that can ruin a 7 to 8 hour print. And no one likes that. It's annoying. I hate it. That is our budget option. That is the A1 with no combo. You will have to add the pauses in. It will require a little more work on your end, but you can still print incredible HueForges, and they will come out really awesome at a really, really affordable price. Awesome. Budget option, done. Let's dive into the kind of the best deal. This is the one that I would highly recommend to anyone that is wanting to get into 3D printing. This is not just for HueForge, but this is really just an all-around fantastic printer, and that is the P1S. The P1S is probably the best printer on the market for the budget, for the price that you can buy. They are currently on sale right now on Bambu Labs website for $400. That is incredible. Like, I want to just go buy a bunch of them. I don't even need more P1Ss. It is just an incredible deal. P1S without the AMS system is $399. Y'all, I cannot emphasize how incredible of a deal that is. Now, the reason that this is such a good deal and why I think this is probably the best kind of all-around 3D printer is because this is a Core XY machine. So if you try to print tall, you'll have no problems doing that, but it's also enclosed, meaning that that draft kind of situation that we were talking about with the A1 is less of a problem on the P1S. Now, there are some other kind of heat creep and other things that you might need to be aware of, but the P1S being enclosed will help you get more consistent prints over a long period of time. Maintenance is very easy on this machine. It is incredibly user-friendly, and although the screen kind of stinks, it is one of those things that for $400, you just really can't beat. That's where like the Centauri Carbon is definitely a competitor with the P1S in this price point for $100 cheaper, but I think the Centauri Carbon is not built nearly as well as the P1S. And so if you're looking at something that will last you for the next 10 years, I would probably recommend the P1S over the Centauri Carbon, but the Centauri Carbon is another really good option. And in like 3 days, they're announcing the new Centauri Carbon that will have multi-filament or multicolor capabilities, which I'm really excited for. And then you have the P1S combo. Now, I wouldn't recommend getting the AMS2 combo. That brings the price up to $639, which is really expensive for the printer that you're getting. And you're really just paying for the AMS2 system to go on top of your printer. You can buy it with the AMS1. It brings the price up to $549 instead of $399. Again, that's still a really incredible deal. And if you're kind of looking for some used printers, or you're okay with them having several hundred hours on them, Facebook Marketplace is your best friend. Check out Facebook Marketplace. You will find some incredible deals over there. Awesome. Cool. Well, that is our best deal 3D printer. I think that is the best bang for your buck. You're getting all of the capabilities of a really expensive 3D printer kind of packed into this enclosed Core XY friendly budget budget system. You can't go wrong with the P1S. The P2S is a great printer, but for the price, for $400, I just can't get over it. I want to buy like 10 of them. All right, last but not least, we have our large format 3D printers. Now, I recommend large format 3D printers specifically for people who want to print larger than the 200 by 200 kind of aspect ratio for a HueForge. Now, I use all of my large format 3D printers to print bookmarks. For example, on my Creality K2 Plus, I can print 12 bookmarks on one build plate. That is incredible. I can slam so many bookmarks onto one build plate as compared to the P1S. I can actually only fit maybe 4 bookmarks on that build plate before I run out of room. And so if you're looking for the printer that will let you create the most quantity, especially when it comes to bookmarks, then I would recommend a large format 3D printer. And that's where 2 key recommendations come in. I would highly recommend the Creality K2 Plus. It's a fantastic 3D printer. highly reliable. Creality does a really good job with their makerspace and the way that they treat makers. I've really enjoyed working with Creality. There are some slight little nuances that you might want to know about with the K2 Plus. Some things that just aren't as reliable, having a lot of the PTFE kind of tube sensor failures where the PTFE tube goes into the print head. They're just known for having a pretty significant failure point right there. And so there are some things that you need to know about that printer, like that failure point, but it is a phenomenal 3D printer. And for the price, I actually want to just check what the price is right now, because it's definitely cheaper than the H2S right now. So you can get the K2 Plus for $1,000 off their website, or you can get the K2 Plus combo, which has their AMS system. It's called the CFS for $1,200. And that's roughly the same price, I believe, that Bamboo Lab is charging for their H2S, which is their kind of large format single nozzle 3D printer. For the combo, they're charging $1,500. So if price really is a big thing for you and you really just need that large format, maybe the Creality K2 Plus is the way to go. It's $11.99 for the K2 Plus and it's $14.99 for the H2S. Now, I've had both. I have the K2 Plus and I have the H2S. I love both of them. They're both equally great machines. There is nothing, in my opinion, for HueForge that sets one apart from the other. They're both equally reliable and good machines. So at this price point for the large format, I'd recommend the Creality K2 Plus, because that is just going to be the 3D printer that gets you the build volume or the build size that will help you create more 3D prints. Now, if you're wanting to just print posters, you're only going to be able to fit one 200 by 200 poster on that build plate. You can't do two at a time. It's just not big enough. You could do a couple 100 by 100s, but not 200 by 200. And so something for you to keep in mind as you're thinking through that. If you want to print multiple posters at once, don't get a large format. But if you want to do some bookmarks, 50 by 150 or 100 by 100, then maybe a large format 3D printer is the right way for you to go. And I would stay away from large format bed slingers. They're just not reliable. They have terrible bed warping issues. That technology is a thing of the past. Stick with a Core XY machine like the K2 Plus or the Bamboo Lab H2S. I love both of them. If you're looking to save some money, then maybe the K2 Plus. Awesome. Well, hey guys, I hope this video was informative for you, as maybe you're just in the market to pick up a brand new 3D printer. If you have any questions about some 3D printers, let me know down in the comments below. I'm going to leave some affiliate links down in the description that you can check out. I just get a little kickback. It's nothing too crazy, but it does help support the channel. And if you're looking to dive into HueForge, to make your own HueForges, something that you've never done before, check out my Patreon. I offer classes, one-on-one coaching for you to get started in HueForge and learning HueForge quickly. Also, make sure to check out all my other tutorials that I have on this channel. I'm dedicated to creating really high quality tutorials for you to get better at HueForge. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you to all my patrons who allow me to do what I love to do. And I will catch you guys in the next one.